All right, so I am joined by the one and only Frankie Darcel, radio personality with iHeartRadio, and y'all coming up in September. It's
Woo!
out of a 10. Frankie, we'll talk more about that. But Frankie Darcel, it's good to be talking with you.
Good to talk to you always, Andre. You know you are the talk of the town. You realize that, right?
Oh no,
You
no,
are the man.
I can
You
never
are.
bear that name.
Thank you.
That's your title.
Oh, bless your heart. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So, Frankie Darcel celebration weekend. You're always doing something. I mean, your hands are full, but
Yeah.
you're never on to the next thing. And the next thing is this big Frankie Darcel celebration weekend. Talk to us about what can people expect.
First of all, Andre, let me thank you. Thank you so much for the love and the support. Let me thank Hiram Jackson and Real Times Media, the Michigan Chronicle. Let me thank Taquanda and the staff. Everybody has just been so amazing. So yes, you make a change in your life. You're moving on to the next chapter and the next journey. Throw a party, right? Celebrate. Celebrate. So, Andre, I am so excited. Detroit has been great to me. When I moved to Detroit in 92-ish, right? The conversation at the time I had to have with this other person in my life, I'll leave it at there, that we would be in Detroit for 3 years. That 3 years turned into 27, right? And I don't regret one day. Like canned goods, everything has an expiration date. And so I'm making a transition out of my radio career in Detroit and moving on to doing other things. I am, with iHeartMedia, which a company which is the largest, the biggest, as Reverend Anthony would say, baddest radio companies out there. So I'm on in Philadelphia at WDAS, which is a heritage station, would be the #1 station in Philadelphia for a long time. But no, I've been commuting back and forth to Detroit for the last 10 years.
I mean, what people probably don't know is that you're a country girl.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've known you on the radio here in Detroit for quite some time. Making that transition, as you were alluding to, I mean, why not throw a party? I mean, this is
yes,
informative and entertaining.
Yes. And the friends I've made, people like yourself, Hiram, I could go on and on and on with the folks I've met in the city of Detroit. So, I was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. And I had business people, community people who I talk to on a regular basis say, but Frankie, you just can't pack your pillowcase and go. We want to do something with you and for you. And I was like, okay. So we had a couple of conversations and it morphed into the celebration weekend. And so on Friday night at Burt's, Miller, London, and, everybody over there at Burt's, Frankie, we'd love to have you have your meet and greet here. So that's on Friday night. It's open to the public. It's free from 6 until 10 o'clock. It's not going to be a whole lot of space, but enough space to get in people who are interested. I want to take every picture. I don't shake hands and hug that much anymore, but we could do some elbows,
Do some elbows.
do some elbows.
This party is so big that it actually starts on a Thursday.
I had to start it on a Thursday. So that is on Thursday, September 22nd at Burt, 6 to 10 o'clock. And again, it's going to be free. And then on Saturday, so Andre, I have been doing theater. I did theater in college at Morgan State University. And then throughout my journey about 15 years ago in Detroit, I did my very first stage play, which was For Colored Girls by Ntozake Shinge. And I've been doing theater since then. So I've done 7 titles, 56 shows. And in 2017, my girlfriend, who is one of my business partners, said, you need to write your own stage play. So I was headed to South Africa, 16-hour flight, started writing my stage play, put it up in Philadelphia in 2019, 3 shows then post-COVID in 2021. 6 standing ovations. It's called Conversations for Sisters Only. It is the modern day Colored Girls. And I like to do intellectual theater where people feel like they see themselves and their experiences on stage. That's what you will see. So I've morphed my book, Conversation for Sisters Only, that I wrote in Detroit. And it's some of my best talk of the town topics, how I put it all together, but I turned it into a story that story was turned into a play. And when my sister came to see it, I remember sitting at her dining room table a couple of years ago. And when she came to see it, she said, "You were writing that sitting at the table." I am as critical a person, I don't like the word perfectionist, but I am as critical a person as I can be. And when I was standing backstage on opening night when we did the first show, Andre, I said, I said, wow, I did this. It is a great piece of work. It is entertaining. People love it. And to the men who are watching, you will love it as well. The two men in the show are heroes. You will love how Black men are being represented in the show. And we talk about all the taboo stuff. People are like, woo, woo. But it's a great show. So that is on Friday night. Yeah, it is at Mary Grove College, right there on McNichols. And I'm excited because it's Detroit. I put it up in Philly, but there's nothing like wanting this show to be in Detroit. When you can do Detroit and win, you can win anywhere. So I would.
You're a Philly girl, but Detroit,
I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful. Motown Philly is what I'm saying. Motown Philly, back again. Yes.
Motown Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, the whole thing. Cheesesteaks and gyros. Go ahead.
Right. But conversations for sisters only, and men are included too.
Men are included too. And, that's on Friday night. And Mary Grove Conservancy is a very small, intimate theater. I've done theaters, 500 seats and 800 seats. This theater is only 390 seats. And people wait till the last minute. I'm saying don't wait till the last minute. Motown recording artist Kim, Robert Porcher, Rick Mahorn, just a number of people who have been so supportive are starting to push the show for me. I'm excited about that. So get your tickets early. And Andre, I wanted to keep the ticket reasonable. The ticket is only $55, right? You can get it at eventbrite.com. Frankie Darcel Celebration Weekend. Eventbrite.com, Frankie Darcel Celebration Weekend. Robert's going to be in the house. Just a number of celebrities on Thursday night and Friday that have met along the way. I'm not calling names of who are going to be there because people who want to be there will be there. And they're going to be there on Friday night as well. So that show is on Friday night. So we start on Thursday. That's happening on Friday. And let me say this too. So my cast is a Philly and Detroit cast. I didn't want to bring the show to Detroit without having some incredible talent that's there in Philly. And so people have been flying back and forth. We've been flying back and forth between Detroit and Philly rehearsing. And the three sisters I have from Detroit are amazing. Ask April, AP. She's a young, dynamic sister. She's in the show. She plays one of the lead roles. Eileen Campbell, who's from Detroit, has done a couple of productions with me, and Lynette Patrick, who's from Detroit. So my Motown Philly cast has blended together, and the folks from Philly are so excited to come to Detroit. And I brag about Detroit all the time. They're like, finally, we get to see Detroit. Yes, you do. So they're excited about coming.
I love it. I love it. And then Saturday, it's another phenomenal event.
So people know my mother moved to Detroit when I went through my divorce, and Detroit became our home too for 16 years to help me raise my daughter so that I could keep doing what I was doing. In 98, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. At that time, Andre, in 98, we couldn't even say breast on the air. We couldn't. Let me shout out Ellen, and I want to shout out as well, Verna Green. Sat in a table in the Penobscot building and came up with talking about doing a walk specifically focused on Black women and stopping the silence. Praise God, my mother, before her death in 2019, beat breast cancer and was cancer-free for 20 years. My sisters and I knew that we needed to make sure that we had our mammograms. Fortunately, but unfortunately, I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017. I found it in stage 1. Praise God, I am 5 years breast cancer free. I'm actually finishing up my total treatment in November, so I'm excited about that. So my daughter grew up understanding, because she was in a stroller when we first started, doing the walk. So she started when she was an undergraduate, and my mother started to give way to dementia. She started a scholarship in my mother's name, and my mother was a huge advocate in education. My mother actually worked with Shirley Chisholm back in the day. I grew up in Brooklyn. She worked on her campaign. So she was always an activist. And I got that gene from my mom. So my daughter started as an undergraduate at Spelman, the Roses Angels Scholarship for students who are going to a 4-year college for the first time. This year, Andre, she's gifted the 7th scholarship. She started on her own, just asking me and my friends and her friends for money. And she's been able to give $500 book scholarships over the last couple of years. And so we knew we wanted to make it grow and have the amount of money grow. And so through this transition, I said, hey, let's do something with that. Let's do the walk. So it is the Roses Angels Scholarship Breast, Prostate, Colon Cancer Walk. And what does that mean for families? Because post-COVID, we know we need to talk about cancer across the board, not just breast cancer, but breast cancer, prostate cancer. Brothers, know your numbers. Get your tests done. So we're talking about it collectively. Let me shout out Reverend Wendell Anthony. It's going to be at Fellowship Chapel right there on Outer Drive. We're going to have vendors, and the people have responded like crazy. We got vendors, and people are calling to be a vendor. So we got vendors. We're going to have music. Let me shout out the Motor City chapter of Jack and Jill. They, Andre, are going to sell balloons for their teen group as their fundraiser. They're going to sell balloons. I have 3 friends that didn't make it. Unfortunately, they passed away from this dreadful disease. You can write the name of a person who's going through treatment, who's been through treatment, who's a survivor or didn't make it, their name on the balloon. And we're going to do a huge balloon release at the end. And let me just say, the balloons we have are biodegradable. So we're looking out for the universe. They're biodegradable balloons and streamers. And we're just going to do a prayer after the walk. We'll walk around the church, and then we're going to release the balloon. So that's on Saturday. Start at 9 o'clock. Registration, come on out, is at 8. Enjoy the vendors right there in the community. And you can also register for that. It's absolutely free too. We don't charge. We're not charging at all because we want people to have the access and information.
The experience and access to information, as you said, is what's key.
Correct. And let me say this. I have to shout out as well because, the Real Times Media and the Michigan Chronicle have been so supportive. Attorney Jermaine Wyrick, so supportive. Al Bartell, who's over there on the Avenue of Fashion. And I have to shout out Dr. Eleanor M. Walker. She was my radiologist, oncologist at Henry Ford Health system. And let me just say, Henry Ford stepped up and said, Frankie, whatever it is that you need, we got you. So Dr. Walker is going to be there as well, talking about the importance. And she not only deals with breast cancer, but prostate cancer, a number of different cancers. And Dr. Evelyn Giaggi, who is an amazing researcher, who is doing research specifically to save the lives, because more Black women are more likely to die from breast cancer and a more aggressive breast cancer than any other population. And she is putting in the work, Andre, to find a early cure or detection for Black women and specifically in women of color. So I'm excited to have Dr. Giaggi, Dr. Eleanor M. Walker, and Henry Ford Health System, that they stepped up in a major way and said, Frankie, what is it that you need? So I thank everybody who has supported me. Those are pretty much the people who stepped up and said, whatever you need, we'll make it work. And so they're going to be at the walk on Saturday morning as well. So we're looking forward to it. Eventbrite.com, Frankie Darcel Celebration Weekend Walk. So it's free. If you don't register, don't tell my daughter this, and you know what, Andre? So I let her, we meet every week, my whole team. Shout out to my team. Who's amazing.
Shout out to that team.
I got to shout out the team. We meet every week, pulling everything together. And I told my daughter I said, well, she's 26 now. And this is her baby. Yeah. So she get mad if I say this, but if in the event you forget to register, come anyway. But anyway, if you go on and register at eventbrite.com, Frankie Darcel Celebration Weekend Walk, we at least get an idea to know how many people that we're going to expect. But I want it to be huge. So we get an opportunity to help a young person go to college with a scholarship. And we get to also celebrate survivors and those people who are fighting breast, prostate, and colon cancer.
Absolutely. You talked about Henry Ford Health and your team. I mean, you have all these different partners who are willing to come together for a great cause and support you.
I need some more money. So if anybody wants to be a sponsor, they can always go to one of those and send a message. We'll take it because, literally, Andre, with the support that I've had. And that's why the folks who have stepped up said whatever it is that you need. But, this stuff comes with a price. It comes with a cost. And so the play itself, I'm moving 9 people from Philadelphia to Detroit. And they're like, Frankie, look, by hook or crook, we're going to get there, And so it's been a lot. But, it's all in divine order. And there, before the grace of God, I'm excited that, we're on point. So if anybody still wants to vend, if anybody wants to, first of all, buy tickets to the play, that would be a big help. That would be a big help to help, cover the costs.
Yeah. Now, you are being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Shut up!
Congratulations!
I know, right?
Talk to us about
my God.
This is a big deal. This is dope.
Andre, it is a big deal. I've known, and I'll say this, I've known for 35 years that my statistics as a basketball player at one of the finest institutions of higher education in the world, and that's Morgan State University. I am a proud alum. I'm a proud member of the Alumni Association, both the Philadelphia chapter and the national chapter. I believe that you don't just wear the gear and say, ooh, hashtag HBCU. I believe you give back your money, right? And so I knew we inducted one of our All-Americans back in 2017. The committee put my name up back in 2018. I didn't get in. I got the phone call 3 weeks ago that my name was put back up for nomination to become a member of the 2022 class of the Morgan State University Hall of Fame. Listen, the institution established in 1865, tens of thousands of athletes, great athletes have come through Morgan and gone on to play football and gone on into the NBA, like, just Marvin Webster, and I could name so many people. And so for the committee to select me, Rosa and Herman's daughter, to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But let me be clear, I did do the work. I did the work. I played with some of the most amazing women. We had the winningest basketball team in the history of the university. Being a part of the Golden Lady Bears is huge. And not only am I going in, but I'm taking everybody I played with into the Hall of Fame as well. So I'm excited to be a part of this class. I believe there are 4 that are going in, and they're taking in the 1979 men's football team that won the MBAC championship that year. And I went to Morgan in 1978, the fall of 1978. So I'm excited. I'm humbled there before the grace of God that I will be installed. So my children's children will be able to walk into the Hill Field House, which is our athletic facility on the campus, and say, that's my mama and my grandmama up there. Yeah. So I can't tell you how excited I am. And I always dreamt, what would I say if I were inducted into the Hall of Fame? What would I wear? And I'd say this and say, let me tell you, it's been 2 weeks. I have no idea what I'm going to say. I have no idea what I'm going to say, and I have no idea what I'm going to wear. But I'm coming to Detroit for sure to shop to find the outfit I need. That's for sure.
Hey, you can tell people, hey, Frankie may have a big mouth on the radio, but, I've been balling on the court too.
As a point guard. And you know what? So, and for anybody with a child that's watching this, or any young person that might need to come by this, be clear. I was an All-American in high school, and I had 2 scholarship offers. And those 2 scholarship offers were like, I can ball better than that. And I ended up going with my sister, because my sister preceded me at Morgan. And I said, well, I'm going to go to Morgan State. I loved it the first day I walked on as a 9th grader. And I said, I'm going to go to Morgan State. So I didn't have many scholarship offers. And I was a walk-on, Andre. I didn't have a scholarship. My parents paid for the first semester of me to go to Morgan. I walked on to the basketball team. The coach saw my skills. She said, listen, if you come back after the first of the year and you improve in this area, this area, and this area, she said, I will consider giving you a scholarship. I came back in December from the Christmas break. Girlfriend was on it. I was on the court all winter break. And I came back and she offered me a full scholarship, ended up with a full 3.5-year scholarship. And now I'm going into the Hall of Fame. So I just want people to know you don't always have to be your best at any time if you're willing to put in the work. And for a point guard to go in, the Hall of Fame is awesome, because some of what I did, there's not a statistic box, right?
Mm.
For it, field goals, steals, and all that, which I'm still leading in a number of places at the university. But there was a lot that I brought to the table that there's no category. And the committee saw that and said, you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Is that not hot as hell? I just keep getting tickled. Somebody, my friend called me the other day. He said, is this the Hall of Fame? I was like, that would be her. Yes.
Sometimes there is no, no box or category. You just write and dribble your own lane.
Yeah.
Know?
Ooh, I love that. Absolutely. So I'm excited. But so another reason to celebrate, that's going to be homecoming weekend, which is October 7th, 8th, and 9th. The induction ceremony is on Sunday the 9th. So my friends from around the country and the like and family are coming into Baltimore homecoming weekend for the induction ceremony on October 9th. So I'm real excited about that. So we're going to kick off the celebration weekend in September, and I'm going to party through. I'm going to party through October. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And you know what? Again, they're before the grace of God, and I mean that honestly. With this transition, Andre, you always don't know why things happen the way they happen. And I was saying to my daughter, it doesn't matter. People will say when one door closes, another one opens. I like to think that all the doors are open all of the time. So when you walk out of one door, look at the apartment building and pick a door you want to walk in. Doors aren't closed, opportunities open. So since making this transition, in Detroit, I can't tell you how many opportunities have opened for me, and I'm just excited about that. I absolutely love Detroit. I just want to say that Detroit, I lived in Detroit longer than I've lived anywhere. People think I went to Cass Tech. I did not. People think I was born in Detroit. I was not. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My dad was a career military man. He was a career Marine. My mother was from Norfolk, Virginia. We moved to Norfolk, Virginia. I went to Baltimore from there and started my career in Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, from Charlotte to Detroit. And I lived in Detroit longer than I've lived anywhere else in my life. So it's home. My daughter was born and raised there. She loves Detroit. That's why the scholarship is only for, and she lives in Atlanta now. The scholarship is only for Detroit youth. I said, well, are you thinking about expanding it? She said, no, this is Detroit. Detroit is my home, and I want to be able to get back to the city that I love. So we both love, doesn't matter what my address is right now. Detroit is still in a place where it needs to grow. It still is in a place where there are options available. Thank you for allowing me to do your Election Day special. I love Detroit. I'm going to be connected forever. Doing the podcast with Real Times Media and the Michigan Chronicle is so very important. So I'm going to be around for a very, very, very long time, as I expand, because I'd like to put the play on the road.
We're going to keep you around.
Thank you. Thank you.
Frankie Darcel, I guess just this final recap about the Frankie Darcel celebration weekend, which is happening in September. This is going to be a time for you to, celebrate with Detroit. And so many people who have loved you all these years, who have listened to you on the radio, and your moment in time to give back and their appreciation for you.
Yeah. Andre, and I still have so much I want to do, and, as people say, folks are retiring. I probably never will, and when people say, Frankie, so many people here love you. I just felt like I was doing what I do. Right. Yeah. So when we came up with the concept for a breast cancer walk, it just made sense. The Frankie's families and feeding families. Let me shout out Ron Banks, God bless his soul. Ron Banks and I from the Dramatics were sitting around one night saying, dang, people are catching it. Let's give away food baskets. And we created the Frankie's families. And shout out to Derek Coleman, because the first year we did it, we literally took the food to people's houses. Can you imagine Derek Coleman knocking on doors and delivering a family a food basket? Ron Banks from the Dramatics delivering a food basket. That's what we did. When the family's house caught on fire back in the day, and said, oh, we need to be able to do something. And I asked people to stop by and give, donations to support this family. That's just, I wanted to always be able to use this platform for something positive and to empower my community. So I hope I've given back somewhere. So I do the concert tickets and, you know, all the stuff, the trips and all that. But I hope more than anything, living in North Roselle Park for 18 years, giving back to the community something that impacted somebody's life, that made a difference using this form.
Yeah.
That is more important to me. All the concerts at Chain, i.e. Aretha, you know, Meadowbrook and all that. I love that. I love it. I would never take that for granted. But the most important times for me was when I could impact somebody and change. So all my mentors, one is working with CNN now. I'm happy. My new mentee is working with TMZ. Check him out. His name is Wild Young. Supported that young guy. And now he's on TMZ. The young lady from Howard University, Shari, from the area. She's now the executive director and producer for the Weather Channel. Those are the things that I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
Being in Detroit.
Giving back and many people who have watched and worked alongside you, you know, like you said, they're in places now because of your mentorship. And so you're doing great work. Continue to do great work.
Thank you.
The list of projects you got going. No, you will never retire.
I know, right? I got too much to do. I have too much to do. I have
Frankie
too much to do.
Darcel Celebration Weekend happening September 22nd through the 24th. You can find out more information by headed to MichiganChronicle.com. We'll put the link for you to buy tickets and get all that. You need. Frankie, always a pleasure.
Absolutely. And I say this, and I've said this to you, I think it was that pre-COVID or just after COVID? I think that you are amazing. I think that the world is your oyster. I wish you nothing but the very best. There's so many opportunities for great talent out there. And I think you are on the track to be one of the best and brightest. So I know Hiram is taking good care of you. Wink, wink, right, Hiram? And looking forward to it. It's been a pleasure working with you. And I thank you so much for letting me spend this time with you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Frankie. We really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michigan Chronicle. Thank you, Real Times Media. Thank you, Andre. And most of all, as well, thank you, Hiram.